we got on in time, because I've got so much good stuff to share with you, and to give people a chance to log on, because I know that most of you will be on your lunch break. So thank you so much for joining me. Whilst we wait for other people to log on, I would absolutely love it if you could say hello in the chat. Let me know who's joining me, and let me know where you're at with LinkedIn at the moment. Are you a lurker? Are you one of those people who is lurking on LinkedIn and hasn't been posting regularly but wants to know how other people are doing it? Are you posting but not necessarily getting leads back? Or are you doing pretty well at the moment? Are you getting some leads but maybe you're just not as consistent as you want to be? So let me know who's here, and also let me know what it is that you're hoping to learn today. That would be fantastic. We're going to be together for about an hour, and that will include time for questions and answers at the end. So please do feel free to use the chat to add any questions as we go along, and I will make sure that they get answered for you at the end. So just to say a quick hello. Hi Colleen, hi Agnes, hi Anil, hi Bex, hi Charlie, hi Demi, hi Gurjeet, hi Holly, hi Ian, hi other Ian, hi Jan, hi Jasna, hi Carly, hi Lisa Ann, hi Luke, hi Matthew, hi Merv, hi Percy, hi Rafa, hi Sam, hi Sharon, and hi Valeria. Welcome along, everyone. There were a few people that didn't open the Zoom link. So if you are in a situation where you are coming on and your colleagues are supposed to be attending as well, but may not have the Zoom link and you can't see that their name is popping up, then by all means, please feel free to share it with them. There will be a replay available after today. So please feel free to take notes, but I will be giving you access to a replay for the next 48 hours as well. So if you just want to concentrate on the content, that is absolutely fine. And if you have colleagues that weren't able to make it today, then it is absolutely fine for them to log on and watch the replay as well. Just give it a couple more minutes. I'm going to read some of what you guys have said about your LinkedIn. So Ian says, hoping to generate more meaningful relationships from LinkedIn rather than gather casual connections. It's a really good one, Ian, because a lot of people feel like they have a really strong network. And in actual fact, it's not targeted enough to be bringing you business. Holly says, I post every now and then, but looking to improve my content and post more, especially videos. Fantastic. That's something we're gonna cover off today. So that's something that we can definitely help you with. Sharon says, beginning to change and build my profile. Yeah, your profile is massively important. And that's something that we're going to cover today as well. Just give people a couple more minutes. If you have just logged on, if you can say hi to me in the chat, and if you can also let me know what it is that you're hoping to learn today. Are you a lurker? I know that lots of people are LinkedIn lurkers. You're spending time on there, you're looking at other people's content, getting to know people from afar, but you're not actually posting content yourself. Are you posting content but aren't necessarily getting leads from it, which is really important if that's what you're there for? Or are you posting content and doing really well? Because there may very well be some of you that are just here to sharpen your skills as well. So let me know while we wait for a couple more people to log on. As we go along, if you want to ask any questions in the chat, please do. If it's appropriate to what we're speaking about at that point, I will answer them straight away. And if not, I will come back and answer all of your questions at the end. After 12 now, so I think we'll probably get started in a moment. Alice has just said, I use LinkedIn occasionally, however, I'm not consistent and that affects your engagement. Absolutely does. Consistency is absolutely key on LinkedIn, as in any type of marketing we do. We need to be getting our message in front of the right people consistently so that they remember us, so that we're building that relationship with them, especially in recruitment, because people don't always need us straight away. So we need to make sure that when they do need us, it's us that they come to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you. I've got some notes prepared so that you can be reading as well as listening. However, if you have any questions, as I said, please do put it in the chat and I shall come back to it later on. If there is anyone that has any trouble throughout the webinar, either hearing me, seeing the slides, just let me know and I will make sure we rectify it for you. So I'm just going to share my screen with you now and we're going to get started. So as you know, today's webinar is entitled LinkedIn Content for Recruiters Free Webinar. And that's really important because everything that I do in my training and my coaching practice is specific to you as recruiters. I think that's really important. And you're my niche, and it's really important that we all have a niche, isn't it? Because if we don't have a niche, we're trying to speak to everyone, and that pretty much will dilute our results every time. Okay, so let's get started. So today we will be covering identifying your ideal prospects. It's really, really important that before we start writing that amazing content, that we know who we're speaking to, so that we can make sure our content speaks to them. We're going to cover your headline and your profile, which again is really important because if you're writing really great content, you want to send people to your profile. And when they get to your profile, you want them to take the right action. And headline's really important because if you get your headline wrong, then quite often people don't accept your connection request. And we want to get as many ideal prospects in our network as possible. We're also going to cover your LinkedIn daily habits, the things that you should be doing every day to maintain that really key consistency on LinkedIn. And also we're going to cover content tips and tricks as well. And we're going to talk about the LinkedIn algorithm. The LinkedIn algorithm is what decides whether your content gets seen or not. So that's also really, really important. At this point, I'm just going to ask you guys to let me know that when I have my slides up, that you can see them. Because I know on a different platform I share my slides in a different way, whereas I should be able to do it as a normal presentation on here. So Charlie's let me know that's okay, so that's fantastic. We'll get started properly. Thank you very much. Okay, so why is having a personal brand on LinkedIn so important? So in 2021, a lot of you who watch my content will have seen this before, but your personal LinkedIn profile is your new website. Now, people buy from people, especially in recruitment. It's no coincidence that when a consultant moves from one agency to another, their clients tend to follow them because it's the person and not the business they've got the relationship with. So in 2021, your personal LinkedIn profile really is your new website. If you Google yourself, your LinkedIn profile is likely the first thing that comes up. It's where your prospects can see what you do, how you do it, and really importantly, how good you are at it. So the reason that I teach my students a content strategy rather than a DM strategy is because we want our prospects to feel comfortable. Through your content, they can get to know, like, and trust you. And when they know, like, and trust you, they're much more likely to buy from you. Absolutely no hard sell needed. Now, you can get in front of prospects on LinkedIn that would never answer the phone to you. I've run my recruitment business for 11 years now, and I have made not one cold call. Not one cold call whatsoever. And the majority of my clients have not been backwards or coming forwards in letting me know that that's the reason they chose me to begin with before they had the relationship with me, because I didn't do what every other recruiter was doing. I got in front of them in a comfortable way and I let them come to me when they were ready, which is a completely different sales process to what you're probably used to in recruitment, but it's very possible through LinkedIn. So really key question, and probably one that you're all wondering right now, does LinkedIn content marketing work for everyone? No, it doesn't. And I'm not going to tell you it does, and I'm not going to try and sell you anything that you don't need. LinkedIn content marketing does not work for everyone. If your target prospects are not spending time on LinkedIn, then it absolutely will not work for you, because there's absolutely no point you putting out amazing content if they're not going to see it. However, if your target prospects do spend time on LinkedIn, then it absolutely will work for you. It's absolutely proven, not only by myself, but hundreds of students that I've taught my strategies who are out there right now using LinkedIn as their only source of lead generation. So if your ideal prospects are spending time on LinkedIn, it will absolutely work. If your ideal prospects are not spending time on LinkedIn and you still want to look at a content strategy, then you want to look at putting a content strategy out on the platform where they do spend most of their social time. So really importantly, I said right at the beginning, before we can start building our personal brand on LinkedIn, we first need to know who we're looking to attract. And that's really important. Because as someone said in the chat at the beginning, if you are not building up a network of engaged prospects, then it doesn't matter what type of content you put out because the right people aren't seeing it. So we need to decide who we're looking to attract, and then we need to base everything we do on LinkedIn around that ideal prospect. So my question to you is, who is your ideal prospect? Now, something that I do with my one-to-one clients is we very much put together a prospect avatar. And what we do is we get to know that prospect so well that we actually name them. So the sorts of things that you want to be thinking about when you're looking at putting together an ideal prospect are, what gender are they? Are they a man or a woman? How old are they? What sector are they in? What is their job title? So if there's a hiring manager, what is the hiring manager's job title generally in the sector that you work in? If it is a candidate, what sorts of target job titles are you looking to place? If it's a client, how many staff does their business have? Where do they spend their time online? And then more personal stuff. And we do have to look at the personal stuff as well, because LinkedIn isn't all business. Are they married? Do they have children? What are their hobbies? And the most important thing, what problem do they have right now that you can potentially solve? And that's really important. So the key to LinkedIn content is all about knowing who you want to attract, getting to know them so well that you actually can write content that speaks directly to them and their problems, because then it will resonate with them. And that's when they're going to know that you're the person they want to work with. So if you haven't gone through this process, if you haven't decided who you want to attract on LinkedIn, this is absolutely your first step to writing great content. By getting to know your prospects and who you want to attract really well, you'll be able to find it much easier to write content that speaks to them. So that is step one. So once you have that prospect avatar, you can start creating a headline, profile, and content that speaks directly to them. Now, your headline is really important. A lot of people that I deal with, especially from sort of stage one, are in a place where they have their job title as their headline. And what happens is, if they're trying to get in front of people that don't like recruiters, people that have had a bad experience with recruiters in the past, just having your headline with your job title is going to mean that your connection request is not accepted. So getting your headline right is really important, because we want to make sure that as many connection requests are accepted by our ideal prospects as possible, because that means that they're going to see our content, and that means we can start getting our message in front of them. Now, the first 4 words of your headline are really important. And that's because when you send a connection request to a potential prospect, it's those first 4 words that they see. So for instance, my first 4 words in my headline are making recruiters more money. If I send a connection request to a recruiter, who isn't going to accept a request from someone whose headline is making recruiters more money? It's just a no-brainer. You're going to accept that request. So I would urge you to go back and have a look at your headline. Ideally, your headline should tell your audience who you want to work with and what you do for them. So you're very much telling them that you work with people just like them, solving problems just like theirs. So an example with mine would be, my headline is making recruiters more money by teaching them how to create a successful sales strategy and personal brand. It's really simple for them to see who I work with and what outcome I get for them. So that is what you should look to do for your headline. So if your headline isn't reflective of who you are and what you do, I would go back and have a look at it. If you're using your job title, I would seriously consider changing it. And really think about those first 4 words, because those first 4 words are what can be the difference between you getting your connection request accepted or not. Okay, so moving on from your headline to your About Us section. And again, this is really important, because if you're writing great content and you're bringing people to your profile needs to speak to them as well. Your ideal prospect really does need to be at the heart of everything that you do on LinkedIn. So your About Us section is the most underutilized part of most people's profile on LinkedIn. People either don't have anything in it, or they have the CV copy and pasted in it, or it's all about them. And it shouldn't be all about you. It should be all about your ideal prospect. And your About Us section should speak to them in a compelling way that makes them want to take an action. And that action should be to contact you. So your About Us section is the LinkedIn version of a sales page on your website. It's where you qualify your prospects and tell them that you can solve their problems. So as I said, most people's About Us section is all about you, and it should be all about your ideal client or prospect. And that's whether it's you're looking at attracting candidates, clients, or both. And if you get it right, they should be answering yes to the things that you do on your profile. So the suggested structure that I use for a profile, and you can go back and have a look at my profile for this, is to ask some qualifying questions at the beginning. So for instance, my first question, I believe, is, are you a recruiter or a recruitment business owner? Because I want them to be answering yes. I want them to be qualifying themselves as an ideal prospect for me. I then go on to ask them if they want to make more money, if they want to become the go-to expert in their industry, if they want to stop cold calling. You know, my ideal prospects will be answering yes to all of those questions, and they'll be pre-qualifying themselves as an ideal client for me. So go and have a look at my profile on LinkedIn. Have a look at how I've set it out. The first half of that section is qualifying questions. And I then follow with, you need me, or I can help. And then I tell them exactly how I can deliver those outcomes for them. And then I ask them to contact me. And that's really important, because you don't want someone to visit your profile and not take any action. You want to urge them to take action in a non-salesy way. So go and have a look at my profile when we finish here, and it will give you a really good idea of what I'm talking about. Look at your first section. That should qualify your prospect by asking them some questions, and your second section should let them know how exactly you can solve their problems, and you should then be finishing by asking them to contact you for a coffee or a chat, not to send them your vacancy, because that is the equivalent of doing a cold call and saying, give me some jobs. So it all needs to be very much about relationship building and not selling. So I want to give you a challenge now. And the best way that you can finish off your profile, make it compelling and make people want to get to know you, is by showing them the person behind the profile. So my challenge to you, and this is something that you can do when you actually come off the webinar today, is to create a welcome video that you're actually going to feature as the top featured post on your profile. Because creating a personal brand on LinkedIn is all about standing out from the crowd and being different from what they expect. And most people will expect, if they connect with a recruiter, to be sold to. Now, we're not going to sell to them. We're going to educate them instead. So as a final touch to your profile, I want you to create a welcome video. And in the video, I want you to welcome your prospects to your page and tell them what you do and who you do it for. No sell, just really, really natural. Just like you would if you met someone, say, at a networking event. I want you to encourage them to view your page and your testimonials and to contact you for a virtual coffee. So I want you to make a video, and I want it to be friendly, non-salesy, really, really welcoming. And it should make them feel like they want to find out more about you, and as if they've got to know you a little bit. So that is one of your challenges for today. There will be some more later on. I want you to create a very, very simple video. So how do you create a welcome video? Now, if you haven't created a video for LinkedIn before, you can very easily do it on Zoom or on your smartphone. So all I want you to do, literally 2-minute video. This is me. This is what I do. This is who I do it for. Please feel free to look at my profile and contact me for a virtual coffee if you'd like to get to know me better. You can film it on Zoom, as I said, and all you need to do if you do it on Zoom is you need to start a meeting, not invite anyone to it, and hit record, and then you can download it as an MP4 file and upload it straight to LinkedIn, or you can do it on your phone. So once you've done that, I want you to upload it to your LinkedIn feed if you're brave enough. If you're not brave enough, send it to me. I will tell you how brilliant it is, and then you'll want to post it anyway. And then I want you to feature it as the top featured post on your LinkedIn profile. If you haven't featured a post before, what you need to do is you need to post your video to your feed. I don't care if anyone watches it at the moment, because that's not what we're doing it for. We're doing it for people that we send to your profile later on. So don't worry if it gets no views. It really doesn't matter at this point. I want you to upload the video. I want you to click the star in the top right-hand corner and then click on feature it on my profile as a featured post. And the next time you go to your profile, you'll automatically see that the video is there on your profile. And how nice would it be if people have connected with a recruiter, they go to their page, and it's not about that recruiter, it's all about them, and it's got a nice smiley welcoming video on there saying hello and thanks for visiting, it's going to make them warm to you. It's going to make them feel as if they get to know the person behind the profile, and they're more likely to contact you, which is our ultimate aim. So if anyone needs any help with creating their welcome video, please do contact me after the webinar and I will absolutely help you. So that's a quick whistle-stop tour through your profile. And I say it's a whistle-stop tour because today isn't about your profile, it's about content. But it's really important that you get those first steps right first before we can move on to discussing content, because we're going to educate people through our amazing content. And then we want them to look at our profile. We want it to speak to them. We want them to qualify themselves as an ideal prospect for us. And then we want them to contact us. So getting your profile right is really, really important. And as I said with your headline, if you get your headline right, more of your ideal prospects will connect with you. Therefore, more of them will see your content. You can build a relationship with more of them. So your headline is absolutely imperative, especially those first 4 words. Okay, so profile recap. Your headline should tell your ideal prospects who you are and what you do for them. Your About Us section should act as a qualifying sales page with questions that should resonate with your ideal prospects. And your video should be welcoming and friendly and not salesy. Nothing we do through our LinkedIn content strategy is salesy. That's not how we want to be perceived. We want to be perceived as different to all those other recruiters out there. And because we act differently, people take notice. So it will instantly help to dispel the myth of recruiters being all about the money, all about the sell, and should ideally have the same impact as them meeting you in person on a scalable level, because we can use LinkedIn to build multiple relationships at any one time. I've also posted the link to my profile on there as an example for you to go and have a look and magpie some if you like. The link is on there, but for most of you know my name anyway. If you just search for Lindsay Meredith, if we're not already connected, then you can see exactly what I mean on my profile. Okay, so moving on to daily habits. Something we discussed right at the beginning again is that consistency is key to generating ideal client and candidate prospect leads from LinkedIn, just as consistency is key in any marketing or sales activity that we do. So in order to build an effective personal brand on LinkedIn, you'll need to be consistent in your LinkedIn activity. And that means actually putting the work in. I know I had a meeting with a potential new client yesterday, and he wasn't getting leads from LinkedIn. He wasn't getting leads from LinkedIn because he wasn't putting the work in. He wasn't seeing it as a priority. And I absolutely guarantee to you that you can spend 45 minutes a day on LinkedIn and generate all the leads that you need. But you need to prioritize it. You need to put that time in. You know, most of you might right now will be spending hours a day, maybe making sales calls and doing other marketing activity. So 45 minutes is not a lot, but it does need to be done daily and it does need to be consistent and it needs to be made a priority, because if you make it a priority, you will make money, you will generate lots and lots of leads, and you probably will be able to leave those other sales activities behind if you want to. And it's really important that I share these daily habits with you for other reasons as well, which I'll come on to in a moment. So the suggested daily habits that I suggest that you should be doing every single day on LinkedIn, every day, make it a priority, is to add a minimum of 30 ideal prospect connections every day. You want to be building your network with ideal prospects every day. So at the moment, if your content isn't really getting any traction, it could very well be because your network is made up of the wrong people, because you're accepting requests from people you shouldn't be, because you're only connecting with people that you possibly already know, or because the right people aren't accepting your connection requests because your headline's not speaking to them. So I want you to add a minimum of 30 ideal prospect connections every single day. And ideally, you should be posting one piece of content every day that speaks to your ideal clients. And that's really, really important that you're showing up content-wise every day, because putting out content is all about building a relationship. You don't build a relationship with one piece of content. You can be lucky sometimes, and you do, just like sometimes you can be lucky by making one sales call, but usually it's a build-up. People see you popping up on their feed, people like what you have to say, they like your message, they feel as if they know, like, and trust you, and that's when they contact you. If you're not consistent, they can't get to that point. And also the way that the LinkedIn algorithm works, which I'll go into again later, means that not everyone sees your content every time. So you need to be posting every day. If posting every day seems completely, out of left field at the moment because you're not even posting, say, once a week, or you have nothing that you can think about to say, don't worry, we could talk about that later as well. But I just want you to note down, you should be posting something every single day. It's really, really important. The other really important thing that you should be doing every day on LinkedIn is you should be spending time every day engaging with your ideal prospects content. And that's really important because a lot of the time we just connect with people and then you never speak to them again. So there's no real point in having them in your network. If you engage with your ideal prospects, you build a relationship with them. And by engage, I mean that you are liking, sharing, or commenting on their content. Because we all like to be liked. And I'm sure that you are sat there thinking that if someone likes or comments on your content, you automatically like that person. You go and look at their profile, you want to know who likes you. It's human nature. We all like to be liked. So the more you actually engage with your ideal prospects content, the more notice they're going to take of you. And that's really, really important. Secondly, the way that the LinkedIn algorithm works is the more that we engage with our prospects content, the more of our content they will see, because it sees us as being interested in each other. So that's really important as well. So I want you to commit to spending time every day, not just looking through your feed, but actually engaging with it. You know, it doesn't take long to pop a like on a post. It does not take long to leave a comment, even if it's just saying great post, interesting content. It really doesn't matter what you write, as long as you write something, because that person is going to take notice. And that's really, really important. So these are what you should be doing every single day. And as I said, it takes 45 minutes a day. That's absolutely nothing. And it will bring you lots of leads, loads more placements, and loads more money, which is ultimately what we're all here for. So I want you to add a minimum of 30 ideal prospect connections every day. I want you to post at least one piece of new content every day, once you know how. And I want you to spend time every day engaging in your ideal prospects content, because we all like to be liked, and we're much more likely to take notice of people that like us and that are engaging with our content as well. Now, just going back to how many people you should be connecting with, LinkedIn hates spam, it hates automation. Therefore, if you act spammy or you act in a way that could indicate automation, they'll stop your LinkedIn privileges. They are really, really clamping down at the moment on people that are overusing LinkedIn, people that are being seen as spammy because they feel it devalues LinkedIn as a whole. So I suggest 30 ideal prospect connections every day. And I suggest that because it's enough to build your network fast enough that you get the results, but not too many that LinkedIn starts to take notice, that LinkedIn starts to stop your privileges. So if you're excited about LinkedIn, you're probably in a place at the moment where you want to go and send a connection request to everyone. But that's not the right thing to do, because once you hit a certain amount of people that haven't accepted your request, LinkedIn start limiting your invitations, and eventually you might get into a place where a lot of recruiters that I know are, where you can have to send an email address before you can connect with someone, or you're thrown off altogether, which can actually ruin a recruitment business. So I do urge caution with how many people you are connecting to every day. The best way to do it is to do a small amount consistently every day. Okay, so the thing that we all want to know, the really interesting and important thing, how do you create content that generates ideal prospect leads? Now, that doesn't matter whether your ideal prospect is client or a candidate or both. You really need to make sure that your content is speaking to them. So as I said earlier, your ideal client, prospect or candidate must be at the heart of everything that you do on LinkedIn. It's not about you, it's all about them. So all of your content should be written for them and with them and their problems in mind. If you're putting content out there and it's not generating leads, go back and have a look at it. Is it written for your prospects? You know, is it speaking to them? Will it resonate with them? Because if not, that's why it's not hitting the mark. But remember, our prospects are people too. And this is something where a lot of people go wrong when they're doing cold calls and sales calls and have that as part of their strategy. They start seeing people as a number, a tick in a box. You know, LinkedIn is all about people, and it's all about people building a relationship with people, because people buy from people. So remember, your prospects are people too. They've got their own goals, their own struggles, and their own problems, just like us. And that allows us to build a deeper relationship with them on LinkedIn. So what are the most common content mistakes that recruiters make? Now, most recruiters write content about themselves, and therefore it only resonates with people like them. So if you're seeing your competitors putting content out there and it's getting loads of engagement, actually look at who's engaging with them. Quite often it's their colleagues or their other recruitment friends, which is fine if they're a rec to rec, but if your ideal prospect is not someone like you, then you can't write content for you, you need to write it for them. Now, most recruiters just post jobs, so their prospects never really get to know them well enough to trust them. Go back and look at your feed. If you're just posting jobs, it's boring. You're not building a relationship with anyone. No one's getting to know you in any way. They're probably just scrolling past you in the feed. If you're trying to attract candidates, I'm not saying don't post jobs, but post other stuff as well. They need to get to know you enough to trust you. And something we've already touched on, most recruiters are not consistent in their posts. You're not posting consistently, and therefore the relationship doesn't get a chance to develop. More mistakes. So most recruiters are trying to talk to too many potential customers on LinkedIn at once, and it dilutes their message. And that's, again, something we touched on at the beginning. A lot of you will be niche recruiters, which makes your life so much easier in terms of marketing. But look at what you're putting out. If you're trying to talk to too many of those ideal client avatars at once, it completely dilutes your message. It goes from speaking to them to trying to speak to everyone, and therefore it speaks to no one. So your content really needs to be targeted to that specific ideal client and not anyone that you think might buy from you. A lot of recruiters also chase what I call vanity engagement. So although it may seem successful, it doesn't resonate with the right people, and therefore it doesn't convert into business. Now, vanity engagement is when you put something out specifically to get likes or comments. Maybe it's a bit sensational, maybe it's a bit silly, a bit stupid. Loads of people might engage with it, but again, they're not going to be the right people. So I completely am against vanity engagement myself. It doesn't do you any favors unless it's attracting the right people again. So if you're putting stuff out there and it's getting loads of engagement, but again, you're not getting the leads, I would ask yourself, are you looking for vanity engagement, or are you actually speaking to your ideal prospects? Because there is a very, very big difference between that. And the last one, a lot of recruiters use industry language that actually perpetuates the negative stereotypes of a recruiter. So nearly every recruiter I meet will tell me that they want to change the perception of what people see as being a recruiter. They don't want all the bells and whistles. They don't want to be seen as putting bums on seats. They want to be seen as being different. Yet they're going on LinkedIn with all the bells and whistles about their placements, about bums on seats, about how fast they filled a vacancy. And it's not sending the right message to their ideal prospects at all. And it's probably actually putting people off from working with you. So again, go back and look at if you're doing that, stop doing it. It's for you, it's not for them. Okay, so something else that we touched on earlier, which is really important that we go into a lot more detail on, is the LinkedIn algorithm. So what is the LinkedIn algorithm? Well, basically, the algorithm is the computer program that LinkedIn uses to decide whether your content is interesting or not, and therefore how many people to show it to. So if LinkedIn thinks your content is interesting, it shows it to more people and you get more views. If LinkedIn doesn't think that your content is interesting, it shows it to less people, you get less views. Obviously, the more people that our content gets shown to, the more leads we'll generate, as long as it's the right people it's getting shown to. And there's a really easy way for you to go and see if it's the right people. So if you go onto one of your LinkedIn posts and you click on the views, you'll see that it says the views and then it says the views in bold. If you click on the views that are bolded, you might know this already, a lot of people don't, click into that and it actually tells you who LinkedIn is showing your post to. If LinkedIn is showing your post primarily to people that come up as ideal prospects, the companies that you're targeting, the type of job titles that you're targeting, then amazing. That means your content is speaking to the right people. Your network is made up of the right people. If it's not, then you're getting it wrong and you need to readjust. So if you feel as if you're writing really, really great content and it's not getting a lot of views, you may also be working against the LinkedIn algorithm, because the LinkedIn algorithm loves some stuff and hates others. And some people are unwittingly are working against it, which means that they're actually writing very, very good content, but LinkedIn algorithm doesn't like it. Therefore, it's not showing it to as many people as it could do. So I'm going to give you a quick sort of lesson in how to master the LinkedIn algorithm and get to see more people. So things that the LinkedIn algorithm really, really likes. The LinkedIn algorithm really likes text posts. It absolutely loves fresh text-based content. So you might have noticed when you write a text-based post, you can only use 1,300 characters. And that's because LinkedIn wants you to put out lots of different interesting pieces of content. It doesn't want really, really long stuff that not a lot of people are going to read. It wants an interesting feed. So you'll notice if you post something that's purely a text post, LinkedIn will show it to more people. So that's what you should be focusing on for your content, for a good proportion of your content. Now, LinkedIn really, really loves video, and it prioritizes it in the feed. Now, there are lots of reasons why you should be using video. But number one, the algorithm likes it. Number two, it allows people to get to know you on a much deeper level. If you post a video on LinkedIn, it's very much similar to you sitting a meeting with a client, prospect, or candidate. But in 1, 2, or 3 minute video, you're essentially sitting a meeting with hundreds, if not thousands of them at any one time. So it can be massively, massively powerful. Video, if done properly, will win you business. If, again, you're speaking to the right people with the right message. So LinkedIn absolutely loves video. Once you're getting ready to scale your personal brand, LinkedIn loves LinkedIn Live even more than native video. Now, LinkedIn Live is application only, and in order to get your application granted, you need to show that you are putting out consistent video content that is not sales-based, that is useful to your audience, and that people like. So video needs to be part of your strategy. If it isn't at the moment, it absolutely could be very easily, even if you're at that point at the moment where you're not quite confident in being visible. Most of my clients start off by saying, Lindsay, I'm never making a video, don't ask me to make one. A couple of weeks later, putting out video, they're getting loads of leads from it, they're really enjoying doing it, and they see the value in overcoming that hurdle and getting out of the comfort zone. So if you're nervous about video at the moment, that's definitely something that a lot of people are feeling the same about, but they get over it, they get the results, and you can too. Now, pictures, this is a really interesting one because LinkedIn likes pictures if they're relevant to the post and lots of engagement within the first 30 minutes. If you don't get lots of engagement within the first 30 minutes with a picture, the LinkedIn algorithm shows it to a lot less people than if you hadn't put that picture in it. So what I would say with pictures is, if the post is about the picture and the picture is really, really relevant, put the picture in, you'll probably get more views on your post. If the post is not about the picture and you're just adding a picture for the sake of adding a picture, it can actually get you less views, and it can actually detract from the rest of your post. So for an example, one of my content clients rang me this morning and she said, I've put out a great post, and she actually said LinkedIn's broken because it's not getting much traction, and it's a really good post. And I went and looked on, and she put what I call a vanity picture on there. She put a picture on there just for the sake of it. There was no need for the picture. It wasn't relevant to the post. I think it just had the title of what the post was about in it. So it actually detracted from the post. And it detracted from the post because when you put a picture in your LinkedIn content, you therefore LinkedIn only shows the first couple of lines of your post, then the picture, and then people have to click on the see more button to see the rest of the post. If the picture is relevant and interesting and you've hooked them into it with the first line of your post, they'll click on the see more button, lots of people will see it. If the picture is not relevant, it's not interesting, they won't even bother clicking on the see more button to see the rest of the post. And if people are viewing your LinkedIn content on a smartphone, which a lot of people do, the picture comes out so big on a smartphone, you only get about 4 words in there. So people actually aren't going to read your post. So if you're going to put pictures on there, make sure they're really relevant, make sure that the post refers to them and that they're not vanity pictures, because if you're using vanity pictures, you'll find you're not getting a lot of views on your post. If you actually post the exact same content without the pictures, you'll get more views and more traction. So that's something to go back and have a look at if that's the case with you. So what does LinkedIn not like? As I said, vanity pictures. Pictures that are not relevant and are added purely for the purpose of to look pretty, really. You know, if you're used to working on Facebook, Instagram, they love pictures. LinkedIn doesn't unless it's really, really relevant. So just be aware of that. Now, something that the LinkedIn algorithm does not like, which I can't fathom for the life of me, is shares. You'll notice that if you share a post, it very rarely gets many views at all. It actually gets less views than any other post. And that's because LinkedIn wants fresh content all the time. They don't want the same people sharing the same content to their feeds. Therefore, don't be sharing a lot of stuff because it won't get seen by a lot of people. However, there is one reason why you should share some content, and that is when you're doing your engagement with your prospects. If you share a prospect's post, again, they're more likely to come back to you, say thank you and start a conversation. But by all means, don't be sharing stuff and expecting to get loads of views and traction. Focus on creating your own content. Okay, so articles. Lots of people spend loads of time writing brilliant articles and LinkedIn doesn't show them to anyone. You'll notice if you write an article, put your heart and soul into an article, and LinkedIn doesn't show them to anyone. Your views are going to be really, really low compared to if you'd have posted the same content in a text post. So if you've written brilliant articles, they've really not done very well at all. I would say go back to the article, chop it up into 1,300 character, more sound bites to get your message across and get them out as a text post instead and repurpose that great content. Go back and look at your articles. If they've not had many views, really go back and think about doing that. Okay, and really importantly, this is something that people do constantly in my feed, is the LinkedIn algorithm hates links that take the viewer away from LinkedIn. And most of you will be doing it. So do not post a link in a post. If you post a link in a LinkedIn post, it will automatically get less views because LinkedIn doesn't want you to be taking the viewer away from LinkedIn. If you want to post a link to something like an article or something that you're selling or your website, allude to it in your post and then post it in the comments, in the first comment, and then LinkedIn will not penalize you for posting the link in the post. So things that LinkedIn does not like: vanity pictures that are there just for the sake of it, no point having them, shares because it wants to see fresh new content, articles because they're too long, people lose interest, and links that take the viewer away from LinkedIn. Okay, so the most interesting thing and the thing that you're all here for, you want to know how to create those pieces of content. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of ideas about content that you can go away and create today. So I'm going to give you a tip for creating 10 plus LinkedIn posts that speak to your ideal prospects, and you can start this today. So what I want you to do after the webinar is I want you to write down a list of all of the common objections that you get from your prospects. And there will be many. So all of the common reasons people don't buy from you, don't want to take that candidate, don't want to have that conversation. So things like outsourcing recruitment is too expensive. They're using a competitor. They've lost money in the past when candidates have left and not got a refund. So think about all those common objections that you get every single day about why a new client may not want to work with you. I then want you to use each of those common objections to write a short post overcoming those objections. And I know this is something that you'll all be used to doing, maybe when you're doing your sales calls, you'll know exactly how to overcome that objection by alluding to how your service is different, what you've got in place to make sure that doesn't happen. So write down each objection in a list and then take each of those common objections and write a short post overcoming that objection. That can create multiple content pieces that will speak directly to your ideal clients and will help you to overcome those objections whilst building a relationship with them. So that is kind of a really top tip today. And if you think of all those objections, you can probably come up with at least 10, if not more. So that's going to give you 10 plus LinkedIn posts that you can start writing from today. So just to give you an example for too expensive. So your post should detail the process that goes into finding the right person for their role, the time that they save by outsourcing it to you, any guarantees that you have for their peace of mind, and actually the money saved by getting their process right the first time. So that's just a couple of ideas in terms of overcoming that too expensive objection. Okay, so how do you come up with consistent content ideas? Because this is something that we've talked about. It's all very well to put a piece of content out there every so often, but we need to be doing it every day. So what I would say is you don't always have to post new content. It's absolutely fine to repost as long as you are posting consistently and have a variety of content in your feed. So if you're really, really busy, you should have what I call a content bank, a bank of great content that you've already written before, possibly posted before, that is just ready to go. And you can repost it. And quite frankly, no one's even going to notice because the LinkedIn algorithm doesn't show your content to everyone anyway. But also, it's not a bad thing to repost something that has a really kind of great message to your audience because it can actually help to reinforce the message. So a really good example of this, I put out a post last week that I put out every 6 weeks and it had 22,000 views, lots of engagement, lots of comments. So no one's sat there thinking, oh, Lindsay's put this out before. People are thinking, oh, that's interesting, I want to engage with that. And it can actually reinforce your message. So if you've put out something before that has piqued someone's interest and they've thought, oh, I actually should probably speak to them, but they've not done it, by reposting the same piece of content, if they see it again, it's going to reinforce your message and they're more likely to contact you. So just a few ideas there about how you can work the LinkedIn algorithm, how you can get consistency into your strategy, and also how you can start writing those pieces of content today. You might be thinking, that's all very well, Lindsay, but where do I go from here? Great tips, but I still have no idea how to write those daily pieces of content, because that seems like a big jump perhaps from where you are. So as you know, I teach recruiters the 12 different types of content that work for recruiters on LinkedIn through my LinkedIn Content for Recruiters course. And I can teach the 12 because I've used them consistently. I've used them to grow my business. And there are hundreds of my clients out there who are using these 12 different types of content to generate business in their business. So what we do is it's a 7-week course. We talk about the 12 different types of content and I teach you those. You then go away and write the content. You share it with me, I critique it, you get it out there to the world, which means that you're implementing as you go along. And most people generate leads as they go along in the course as well. And then the last week of the course is all about using those 12 different types of content to generate hundreds of content ideas, to generate hundreds of posts. And we then put your content calendar together. So the next round of my course starts on Monday. If you go and look at my feed from this morning, you will see lots of information about that, and you will also see lots of testimonials from happy students as well. The way that it works is it's pre-recorded, and it's pre-recorded for a reason, because you're all really, really busy people. Recruiters as a whole are really, really busy, so you tend to not be able to commit to the same times every day or every week for training. So it's pre-recorded and you get a new task every day, Mondays to Thursdays during the course, and then you get Friday off if you need to catch up. So the reason it's done like that is that you can actually do that task and watch that training video and do the task when it fits in best to your day. However, you get a new task every day because I want you to implement. So you get taught everything on a really bite-sized basis so that it's not taking up too much of your time, you're implementing it into your business and you're seeing results, but also you're doing it every day. So you're achieving that consistency that we talked about. So at the end of the 7 weeks, you're automatically doing these things every day. It's become a habit. You don't have to suddenly start changing your life in order to fit your 45 minutes of LinkedIn work in there. Okay, so just some testimonials from previous students here. There's lots more on my profile. There's also some video testimonials that you can go and have a look at as well. If you have a look at these, it just gives you an idea of who LinkedIn content works for. So this lady went from having absolutely no views on a post whatsoever, I think she had 100 was her most, to having 13,000 views. So 13,000 people viewing your posts is going to get you a lot of traction. And during the 7-week course, she actually made 5 placements from 5 pieces of new business she generated through the course. So if you think of investing your money into a course like this, it's only $429 plus VAT for the course, or you can pay it in 3 payments over 3 months. And that's very much a lot less than 1 placement. So you're going to learn a strategy that can teach you how to put consistent content out there forever. So Lisa made 5 placements in 7 weeks, and she can use that strategy to do that again and again and again and again and again. So your return on investment is absolutely massive. If you want to work with me and if you want me to teach you those 12 different types of content, to get into that consistent habit of posting, to generate those leads and to have that content plan filled with those hundreds of ideas so you never have to worry about what to post again, then get in touch and let me know and we'll get you signed up. So now is the time to answer all of your questions. So let me stop sharing my screen and let's get your questions answered. So just go into the chat, let's have a look. If you've got a question that you want to ask that you haven't had a chance to yet or hasn't been answered during the presentation, this is your time. So go on to the chat now and let me know what it is that you would like me to answer. Ian, do you advocate content that fits with common themes? Absolutely not. There is nothing worse than seeing everyone posting about it's chocolate day. You know, it's completely irrelevant. Unless your prospect is a chocolate factory, it is completely irrelevant. It's just, you know, it's a bit silly really, isn't it? And what you tend to find is people that are taught those things, they teach it to everyone. So the interesting thing about the strategy that I teach you is that it's specific to you, it's specific to your prospects. You get a lot of your personality in there, and it allows people to get to know you as a person. Who really cares if it's biscuit day or it's chocolate day, etc., if it's not relevant to you and your business, and again, if it's not relevant to their business. So concentrate on things that are relevant to their business and not gimmicks, because that's a gimmick and we don't want to be seen as gimmicky. Vincent, what are your thoughts on LinkedIn posts which have a new sentence on every line, making the post longer? You've probably kind of missed the point with those, Vincent. If you see those posts that have one line and then a big gap and then the rest of the post, that's someone working the LinkedIn algorithm. That is someone working the see more button. So if you put your first line is interesting enough, it's a hook into the rest of the post, and the more people click on the see more button, the more people see your post. So it's not necessarily because they're trying to space it out for any other reason than it's really good content and they want to get it seen. Holly, really enjoyed that. Is there an app or video you can recommend for captions on videos to make them inclusive and easy to follow? There's loads of free stuff, in all honesty. LinkedIn Live at the moment actually puts on captions for you, and that's something that is planned for native video as well. But you can get, there's so many different things depending on what type of phone you have, what type of budget you have, but there's loads of free ones. What I would say with the free ones are, sometimes you have to go back through them and recap them. Also, there's kind of an advantage and a disadvantage to using captions. The advantage is people don't actually have to open your video to get your message. However, if you've got captions on there and people don't have to open their video, then you're kind of missing the point, because you want them to open the video to listen to your voice, to get to know you better, not just about the message. If it was just about the message, you'd just be doing text posts. If you want to get them to know you better, they need to see your face, they need to hear your voice. So sometimes putting captions on it actually can take away from the video as well. But that's something that if I was you, I would test and see what works better for you. Beck says, what are your views on using polls and using the stories feature? The jury's out on the stories feature at the moment because it's so new. Not everyone's got it. My view on it is it's very much Facebook. You know, I can't see it taking off brilliantly on LinkedIn. And certainly, you know, in the way that most people will use it. So some people won't have it at the moment. Some people won't have heard of it. There's kind of the jury's out on it. If you ask me the same question in 3 months' time, I'll probably be able to give you a view on it. But it's so new at the moment that I can't, unfortunately, because I wouldn't want to be recommending something that I haven't tested fully yet. Using polls. Again, it depends on the poll. It depends if it's relevant to your audience. You see lots of people putting vanity polls out there just to kind of get those vanity engagements, and they're boring. They don't really mean anything. You know, all those things about, do you like dark tea or light tea? You know, the many millions of work from home polls, they're boring. You know, they're not really, if they're not relevant to your audience, it's not going to work. Personally, I wouldn't do a poll. If you have a question that you want to ask your audience and it's really relevant, ask them the question in the post, and then ask them, give them 3 options, maybe of an answer, and then ask them to post their answers as a comment in the comments box. So for instance, I did one a few weeks ago when I was doing a debate on whether you should cold call or not. And I asked people what they thought of cold calling, and I gave them 3 options. You know, yes, I love it, it works. I'm doing it, but I hate it. Is there another way? And no, it's dead. And then I asked them to post their answer in comments. Because they posted their answer in comments, I got their answer. It was relevant to my audience. It made them think, but also the more comments you get, the more engagement your post gets, the more people it gets shown to. So in actual fact, if you want to do a poll, do it as a post. Don't use the polls feature because it'll get shown to more people. Jan, would you recommend deleting connections and starting again? No. Don't do that. I'll give you the example of one of my clients, Rowena. If anyone is interested, Rowena is one of my clients that completely pivoted from one niche to another niche during the pandemic. And she said to me, shall I delete my original connections? Because she had, say, 10,000 connections that weren't relevant to a new audience? Now, the answer was no, because you don't know who those connections are connected to. So the more connections you have, the bigger a second connected audience you have, and therefore the more people that you can potentially be connecting to that are relevant. What I would do from now on is add relevant connections and make sure that your content speaks to them. So you'll notice that my content is all speaking to recruiters. So go back and look at my content. It should all be speaking to you because it's for you. I've written it for you. Now, way back when, I did generalist recruitment, sort of when I first started on LinkedIn 10 years ago. So some of my connections aren't relevant to what I do now. That doesn't matter because I'm not writing content for them. They know it's not for them, so they tend to skip past it, but I can still make use of that second connected network that they give me. So don't start again, unless you're at the point where you're already near your 30,000 connection limit. Just start from today, only connecting to relevant connections and only speaking to relevant connections through your posts. If the wrong people see it, that's okay, because it's not speaking to them. We want them to scroll on by. We only want it to speak to the right people, because that's what's going to get us our traction and our leads. And Neil, I've got a question regarding sourcing prospects. I'm not a premium user, hence I run out on searches when looking for potential prospects. Is there another source or site that you recommend? Upgrade. You know, it's so cheap to upgrade to premium or sales nav. Do it. It's absolutely worth doing it, even if you only do it for a free trial or you only do it for a month. Absolutely do it. I fully recommend Sales Nav if you're looking to generate client leads on LinkedIn, because it gives you so many filters in your search list that you can make your list so narrow, and then you can only connect with highly relevant people. The other thing that Sales Nav gives you is multiple searches. It allows you to view everyone that's viewed you on your profile, which is again is really important. But the main thing that it does, which is why I would buy it in a second, is it tells you when you do a search. Say there's 30,000 people in your search. It then tells you who's been active on LinkedIn in the last 30 days, and that might be 10,000. So you want to be spending your time building relationships with that 10,000 that is active rather than that 20,000 that isn't. So the more people that are active on LinkedIn that we're getting in front of, the faster we'll generate our leads. So Sales Nav is worth its weight in gold. It's well worth it, even if you only do it right at the beginning, in order to really get your searches set up for those ideal client connections. Ian, I understand that the headline is key to finding you by searching. They tend to use job title and keywords, but I didn't see these in your headline. That's because it's not relevant for searching. They do use it, but they also use your work history. So I come up in thousands of searches every week, and I come up based upon not just what I do now, but what I've done in the past. So people search for recruiter, and I will come up because it's a keyword in the work history part of my profile. So don't worry about that for your searches. Every single one of my content clients, when they do what I tell them to do, their searches go up massively, absolutely massively. So don't worry about the headline in terms of searches, because the algorithm looks at your entire profile and picks out those keywords anyway. Say, do you add a message when connecting with people? Yes, I do. I've split tested it, and what I found was if I added a personalized message, more people accept my requests. Someone said to me yesterday when I was doing a consultation, I don't do that because it takes too much time, but his actual rate of getting his connection requests accepted was tiny. Therefore, it's absolutely worth putting the time in to do it. And it doesn't take a lot of time. I have one central message, I copy and paste it, and then I change the name. So it really doesn't have to take a lot of time for it to seem personal to them, and for you to be polite. You know, for me, it's the difference between getting a letter addressed to you and getting junk mail. So don't send junk mail, send something that's personalized. Even if you're sending the same message to every person, it's really important, and you will get more of your connection requests accepted because people feel as if you actually wanted to connect to them, that they weren't just a number in a list. Let's have a look. Some more questions here. I've got a question regarding sourcing prospects. I'm not a previous, that's the same one as we've already had. Someone's posted it there as well. Amy, do you have tips for balancing the headline in your profile when your prospects are clients and candidates? What I would say is, who do you want to get in touch with more? Pick that one. So when I used to use this strategy a lot when I was focusing my LinkedIn on recruitment, which not now, it's coaching, because obviously that's the sort of type of prospect I'm looking for right now. When it was focused on recruitment, I still based it upon the client, because my candidates know who they want to work for. So if I tell them in the headline that I'm working with hiring managers within such and such a sector, they still see it for them. So if you want to attract clients, use the client headline, because candidates will still know that you're working with clients that they want to work with. So that really, really isn't a problem. Not a problem at all. Samantha, what should you prioritize, candidate attraction or client prospects? Again, it's completely up to you. Who do you want to attract? You know, that's really important. What's more important to you right now? Are you working in a candidate-driven market where you really need more candidates? In that case, prioritize candidates. Are you working in a client market where you've got the candidates, but you really, really need the jobs? That's what you want to do. And what I want to say is, it's for now, it's not forever. So just pick the one that's going to best fit in with what you want to gain right now. You can always change it in the future if that changes. Is the course aimed at the UK market, or can it transfer to the DACH market? I have clients all over the world. It absolutely works for every market in every country if your prospects are on LinkedIn. No, LinkedIn is the same across every country, just like Facebook and all these other systems, all these other socials. It's all about networking. It's all about building relationships. If your prospects are on LinkedIn, then a content marketing strategy will absolutely work for you. Sheena, if you have more than one avatar client, would you recommend changing the content to suit each every 3 months? That's kind of up to you, but what I would say is you don't want to dilute your message. So start small and think big. Look at who you really want to attract right now. You know, you're always going to get a better return on investment if you focus on one client to begin with, gain as much business in that sector as possible, and then maybe add the next one on. Or maybe if you're in a bigger business, have different consultants targeting different clients, or presuming if you were dealing with different niche sectors, they're probably quite, if you as one consultant is dealing with different niche sectors, they're probably quite complementary. Therefore, look at your client avatars, do different client avatars, and then look at what those client avatars have got in common. If they have a lot in common, you know, if they tend to still be the same gender, the same level of a business, the same age, they've got the same hobbies, etc., then you can probably do a bit of an amalgamated avatar by being quite clever about how you write your content to be speaking to them all at the same time. I think that is all the questions answered. If anyone has any more questions post the webinar, please do let me know. I am going to post the link to the course for you now, so you can go on and have a look. If anyone has any specific questions for me when you've had a look at that information, please do let me know, and I'll be happy to hear from you. If a group course doesn't work for you, I do have a one-to-one option. I do one-to-one mentorship where I meet with those people every single week for 12 weeks. And essentially we put your proposition together, and we write your content together if you feel as if you need that level of support. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, really enjoyed spending this time with you. And thank you for all your great questions. And I look forward to seeing all your amazing content on LinkedIn. See you soon.